Hi, Gaber, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Gayborhood podcast. I'm your host, Michael Theriot. I am so thrilled to have you over today. So come make you a cup of coffee, brew you a cup of tea, because it's time to get cozy and just have a good old neighbor chat.
Welcome to the Gayborhood, where hearts beat loud and dreams feel good. Family's not just blood, it's understood. Welcome to the Gayborhood.
The song you were just listening to was Welcome to the Gayborhood by yours truly. It's a song on my album. I am hoping that I have this podcast out before the album. It may come after the album. I haven't fully decided just yet. But you can find this song will be available on all streaming platforms at some point in the near future. I think the goal is to have my album release in June. I'm hoping I don't post this podcast in June, but we shall see. The thing I've been wanting to do this year, my motto, which I've been just reiterating over and over and over, is finalize and monetize. We are going to finalize our projects and find some way to monetize them, even if they just make something as simple as like pocket change. That is the goal going into 2026. And I feel like so far I've completed an album. I just got to get it out there. And then now I'm starting this podcast. So I already feel very accomplished for the year because I'm just one of those people that have so many ideas. I don't have a way of like finalizing them because I'll end up either getting bored or it's too overly complicated for me to completely wrap my head around and understand how to navigate just finalizing a project. Give me a second. I'm going to sip me some of my chia seed tea. One of the goals with this podcast is to get guests on every week, chit chat like you're having a good conversation with your neighbor. This is something that I've always wanted to do, and I have always wanted to build a Gayborhood of my own where basically you have all your friends, family, or whoever you want in your Gayborhood to just live in a neighborhood together. I always joke about, especially with my husband, always joke about buying a big plot of land and then having everybody basically build a house on said land, and then we all live in like this community together. It's one of my like biggest dreams that I hope to one day achieve. I doubt that's gonna really happen, but it's something that I am very passionate about for sure. So hopefully next time I film this or record this, I will have my first official guest. So I want to know, like, who all would you like to see come onto the podcast? What kind of community members do you want to see? Do you want to see drag queens? Do you want to see trans people? Do you want to see anybody? Just let me know. You can reach out on all types of social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I haven't decided to get back on Twitter yet. That's still something up in the air, but I might need to try to help get this podcast out. So jumping into our first segment, what's your story? All right. So my story starts with me being born in Florida. Both my parents are full-blooded Cajun. So I am a full-blooded Cajun, if you will. So all of my roots tie down to Louisiana and just being in Louisiana. So very much my life is wrapped around the culture of Cajun culture, if you will. Um, we moved around a lot growing up, and it wasn't so much as like being a military brat. Um, because I didn't actually become a military brat until like probably close to high school, when my mom finally married my stepdad. Uh, so, just to give you some context, I am actually a teenage pregnancy. I was born. Um, my mom was, I think, 16 or 15, going on 16 at the time. So here we are, 30 something years later. I We've been through a lot of states. Like I've been to Louisiana, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, and I think we finally settled down here in Virginia. And then finally, when I officially moved out at 21, I moved to Richmond, Virginia, and this is basically my happiest home I've been in. I love Richmond so much, and I don't plan on moving anytime soon. So I married my husband in 2016, and I have been happily married for almost 12 years. No, happily married for 10, together for 12. Lord, if he sees this, he's gonna murder me. So, needless to say, we have 5 fur children. Um, so I have 5 dogs. And I love them very much, and they're actually the reason I'm filming this at 6 in the morning, because yesterday when I sat down to actually record this, it just ended in chaos. Like it was me, um, basically yelling at them to be quiet so that way I could actually film this. And the only time that my dogs are ever quiet are in the middle of the night ish, and or in the first thing in the morning. Like they're at their quietest. Like right now, they're just laying around, but I have one little munchkin that's kind of rolling around, but he's not being too loud, so it's acceptable. It's acceptable. I feel like I'm derailing, and I hope that's not the case, and I hope you guys are following along. Um, Cliff Notes version of that is born in Florida, both parents Cajun, moved to Richmond, married my husband in 2016, and then I have 5 fur babies. My dogs are Pomeranian Husky mixes, except for like 2 of them. One of them actually is an Australian Shepherd mixed with Pomeranian Husky mix. He's just a mess. So he's very hyperactive. And then we have one full-blooded Husky. Their names are in number of age from oldest to youngest. We have Chibi, Archie, Cedar, Ash, and Alder. And they all have full government names. Like, I gave them both first and middle names. And especially when I get upset with them, I use their full, like, government name, essentially. What other kind of story? I mean, like, let's see. I came out at, I want to say 15, 16, maybe. Did I? I at least realized I was gay, um, like 15, 16. I was dating a girl at the time when I realized this, and didn't tell her. And I was going through, like, just being angry, upset, just all the time. And finally, I broke things off with her. And I think I came out to my best friend at the time. I mean, we're still friends, but like, we don't really chat like we used to. And I kind of miss that. But, anyways, let me not get too sidetracked. I broke up, told my best friend, and then slowly from there, I started coming out to everyone. And I was unfortunately outed a lot. I was outed twice, if you will, to my parents. Um, let's see. The first time was I have you ever heard of the MASH games where basically you take a group of like people and like your crushes essentially, and then you like choose who you're gonna marry, who you're gonna um befriend, or what. I don't remember how to play it. I'd have to look it up one day. Maybe we can do it on the podcast one day when I have a guest. Um but anywho, I had a little booklet of it my friend made me, and I didn't do a school project, and my parents were one of those people when they grounded you, they took everything. And when I mean everything, they cleaned out my entire room. And they found that booklet and essentially kind of cornered me, if you will. They found some other things, but we can talk about that at a later time because it's a little embarrassing because there were definitely lots of signs to me being gay, and they found all of them in one afternoon. So that night they approached me and they started questioning me about if I was gay, that they would still love me. And unfortunately, I had seen a lot of like movies and different like gay themed movies about being gay and like parents saying that they're going to accept the child and then in the end they don't. So I was very terrified to fully come out. So I told them I don't know. I could be bisexual, I could be gay. That I think I just came out as bisexual. Like I'm into both, but I didn't know. Like I kind of left it ambiguous because I didn't want them to think that I was gay. Um, and I didn't want to like essentially get thrown out the house because that's literally a lot of the like gay themed movies that I was watching were just kids getting thrown out at like 16, 17, and then having to make it on their own. Um, so that was the first time getting outed. The second time was because of a girl who essentially wanted, I don't know what it was. Like we dated, but nothing came out of it. Well, then when I came out as gay, it was like all of a sudden she wanted me again. And she's the one who broke things off. It wasn't me, it was her. And so essentially, what happened is she then all of a sudden wanted me. She wanted to actually like do things with me. And that was something I just was past at that point. I didn't want to. And we were sitting in the living room of my parents' house at the time. And she looked at my mom and flat out told her that if it wasn't for your son being gay, I would want to fuck him right now. Her exact words to my mother. Like, who does that? Anyways, my mom's mouth completely drops. And essentially, she looks at me. She said, "So you've decided?" And at that point, I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, like, I can't deny it at this point because she just outed me again. For the second time. And so I told her yes. She said, "Okay, well, I love you very much, but you're gonna get this bitch out my house right now." And so the girl left, and I've been gay ever since. Well, I've been out to everybody ever since. The way my dad found out was a completely different story. I think when I finally was ready to fully admit it, I made a big post on Facebook. I said, "I'm gay, get over it." Well, I forgot that most of my Louisiana family I'm friends with on Facebook. Me being the young, naive child, or not child, but teenager, I post all that. And so the next, I think it was either that afternoon, I got a call saying, and it was from my stepmom. It wasn't my dad, it was my stepmom. My stepmom has always been the one to kind of step in and talk, and like it never was really with my dad, which that's more trauma that we can unpack later. But she called and she said, "I just wanted to let you know we all know, and we love you, um, and accept you." That was the end of that, and so I was officially out to everyone. I had an okay time at school. I wasn't one of those kids that got bullied a lot. I got bullied some for being more nerdy than gay. Because when I came out, everybody just accepted it. They didn't really care. I was like that one kid in high school that was accepted because there were plenty of other gay kids that came out and like kind of got bullied for it. Um, Maybe it's because I didn't like. I don't know. I'm pretty feminine. I, you know what? I'm not gonna get into it because I'm gonna get sidetracked yet again. But yeah, that's kind of my story so far. I feel like I've done a pretty good job at keeping it together. And I'm sorry about the noise in the background. My dogs are playing. But I mean, that's what you would expect if I was to have a neighbor over right now and we were having a conversation. They'd be interrupting said conversation. Oh, it sounds like someone's coming up here. Oh, it's my girl Chibi. That's my girl. I know you're not snorting at me like a pig, ma'am. All right, moving on to segment 2. What kind of neighbor are you? Um, I am definitely the neighbor that I feel like I try to be as social as I can. But I do have a social battery that burns out fairly quickly. I actually had really bad social anxiety for the longest time, and it wasn't until I met my husband and essentially started my business when I was doing the business at the time. I think both of those really helped me like navigate my social anxiety. And so now, sir, can you stop? So now I navigate it pretty well. I am one of those people that love to have a lot of people over, and I love cooking. I love cooking. So I will cook for everyone and their mama. Like, just come over. Let's have a good time. Let's eat some food, some great food. Cause not to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty damn good cook. It was actually one of my original passions growing up, and unfortunately, it kind of got forced down my throat to the point to where I kind of lost my way with it. And then when I met my husband, I kind of reignited that passion for cooking again, and so now I've been cooking nonstop. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely the neighbor that will wave from the driveway and like I'll even walk over and have a full conversation with you. Or heck, I would invite you in to come have a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, and let's spill what's going on in the neighborhood. Because I also am a little kind of, I'm not really a gossip. I just like to know what's going on. Um, and I have a tendency to kind of stir the pot just a tiny bit. A tiny bit, not a lot. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes and I feel like I'm kind of going over everything. When I was doing this last night, I felt like I was all over the place, and I feel like I'm doing a better job of just like keeping on track. Um, Yeah. Um, let's see. So the little like prompts that I picked out were like, what's your social spectrum? And as I said, like I love to be social. I had really bad social anxiety, but I learned to cope with it. But my social battery does very much like tucker out pretty fast. It's just one of those things that like happens. In terms of the drama scale, I love to hear about the tea. I don't like to be involved in it necessarily. But I am kind of the like mediator and the instigator, if you will. Like I will hear from both sides and then make my judgment call based off of that. But I'm also the one that likes to hype a bitch up and make them hate everyone in their like lifespan. Responsibility wise, like I feel like I am very much the person who will bring their chair. I will always bring a dish. I will always ask if there's something I can do or bring at any kind of social gathering. Um, I'm also that emergency contact friend that you can rely on if you really need help with something. Um, a lot of people, I say a lot, but a lot of people rely on me and Robert, specifically my husband, to do a lot for them. And so we try within reason to help as best we can. So I would definitely call us the emergency contact friends. So if you need help with something, just give us a call. We'll be right there for you. Um, I'm also the type of person to house sit for you. Like I'm definitely one that will come over, take care of your animals, water your plants. And I promise I won't kill them. I'm pretty good at plant care, as you can see if you're actually watching the video. But if you're not, behind me is literally a wall of plants, and that's just a fraction of what we have in the house. I have probably close to like 80 plus plants in the house, maybe. I'm gonna do a count, and I'm gonna get back to y'all on that at some point. Um, Next, let's talk about being honest. A lot of people in the neighborhood or that are gonna be in the neighborhood are not gonna be honest with some things, and that's okay. But we're gonna discuss some of that here. Have you ever been that person that just avoids someone in public? Because I have, and quite frankly, it's usually because my social battery is on E and I may cut someone if they speak to me. Um, Two, if I don't like a person, I won't go out of my way to be like extremely nice to them unless I have to. Um, so I avoid people sometimes a lot. I don't try to, but my mom taught me something when I moved out on my own, and I wrecked my car like 2 weeks after moving to Richmond. It was always look somebody in the eye and acknowledge them. And that probably saved me a lot. Um, Especially like walking through some shady areas because I didn't know it at the time, but there were a couple places that I went and it wasn't so like safe. But I kept my head up, looked people in the eye, acknowledged them, smiled, and kept walking. I try to do that on like a daily basis if I can. But like I said, sometimes my social battery just doesn't want to social, and here we are. Um, Next, are you that friend that has ever pretended not to see a text? Because I have, and it's usually around when I'm either annoyed my social battery's low again, or if it's something, sometimes I am not being a good friend in that moment, but like if they need something, I will typically sometimes ignore. And then when they're like, "Oh yeah, did you see my text?" I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't. What's going on?" Uh, just know it's not that I don't want to be around you, but I don't want to be around you or want to answer at that moment. I'm also that person that likes to look at a text and say, "Oh, I'm gonna message them back," um, and then always forget to do it. It's just something that happens, y'all. I promise. I'm not being mean out of spite. And are you that person? Are you that person that checks who viewed your stories, like on Instagram or like any social media? Because I do it all the time. Because I'm a very nosy person, so I like to know who's watching at all times, and I know who's watching at all times because I'm a very nosy and observant person. Just because you think I'm not paying attention doesn't mean I am. Or ain't. Wait, what? Anywho, I feel like I jumped down a rabbit hole. If your friend group currently lived in your neighborhood, who would be the one to borrow money? I want to know. What do you guys think? Who's that friend that borrows money? Sorry, I had to start the camera again. I think I am not the friend that borrows money, but I am the friend to borrow money. Who hosts Thanksgiving? That is definitely me. I am the hoster of Thanksgivings every year because I told my parents at this point I'm done traveling for the holidays and it's time for the kids to host. It's time for the kids to host. It's well overdue. And so now every year I host Thanksgiving. And I invite everyone. Like, I mean, everyone who doesn't have a home, you are more than welcome to come here for Thanksgiving. Who would be the one most likely to start a feud? I wouldn't start a feud. I would either finish the feud or I would be the one to stir the pot more. Definitely. But I'm not going to be the one to start a feud. I try not to do that because I don't like being involved in drama. I just like hearing about it. Sorry. Who would have suspicious Amazon deliveries? That would definitely be us, and not me. Not me in particular. It would definitely be my husband. Some of the stuff he like orders on Amazon is just out there. We're not gonna get too much into it because none of y'all's business. But yeah, he definitely can't stay off of Amazon some days. Moving on to the next segment. This is Neighbor Confessions. And I think I only have enough time for like maybe 3. So I'm gonna try to kind of quickly go through. So the way Neighbor Confessions work, you, the viewers or listeners, will send in your neighbor confessions, which will be read anonymously to keep, you guys safe. But it's one of those things, it's like you send it in, I'm going to read it, I'm going to react, and then I'm going to give my feedback. And that's how things are going to work. Because this is the first podcast, I didn't have time to really get on socials and try to get people to confess things. So I recruited some coworkers to basically give me some stories, give me some neighborhood confessions. So I have a couple. And when I was reading these yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you now. I had to read these yesterday when I was trying to do the podcast, which was crazy. But now here we are, and so I know most of these, and I'm kind of filtering it. I'm trying to keep this as somewhat lighthearted. Some of these are really dark. So we're gonna see. All right, let's start with the first one. When I was working outside, my neighbor walks down the street with a glass of wine, giving me the side eye, and I give a polite wave. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Like, I know that everyone has that neighbor that kind of like side eyes you and it can be very, very rude. Yeah, that was just like that was your little teaser. That's your warm up. Now we can really get into a different one. Oh, here's one. My neighbor would let her dog pee on my mailbox and my flowers, our plants. So one day I hid in the bushes with a ghillie suit, and when she was walking her dog, I jumped out and scared them. She never let her dog pee by my mailbox again. That's such a good one. That's something I would totally do because like I said earlier, love plants. I love to garden. So if somebody messes up said garden, I will fuck them up. And that's something I would totally do. Would just wait and go screaming at them. Yeah. All right, next one. I was curious what kind of key turns on a golf cart. Turns out any small skeleton key works. So I took their maintenance cart for a spin one night. That is definitely some stuff I would end up doing because I love me a good golf cart. Like, one of my neighbors actually had a golf cart, and they used to let us drive that thing all the time. Um, and it definitely was one of those things. Like, if I had the opportunity to sneak out and use someone's golf cart, I would. We currently have somebody in the neighborhood we're in who rides around on the golf cart, and like some days I want to be like, I'm jealous and I want to ride or I want to drive it. Um, y'all know who you are if you're watching this. So yeah, I would love to have a golf cart. Wouldn't you? But yeah, that's definitely something I would do personally in my life. All right, I think I got time for maybe one more. Oh, okay. This one's a little dark, but you know what? This one's for shits and giggles, I guess. Well, there was a woman who shot her husband at the end of the block. I was like 12. And honestly, yeah, that, hope she got a lot of life insurance money for doing that. Or she's in jail. One of the two. That's my follow-up question, actually. What happened to her? Did she die? Or not die. Whew. He died, probably. But did she, did she go to jail? Or did she collect life insurance money and flee? I want to know. All right, I'm gonna do one more. Let's end on a like brighter one, bright-ish or one. My neighbor used to let his husky poop on my yard and not clean up after being warned. I told my Rottweiler, or no, sorry, I can't read. I took my Rottweiler to his grass and didn't leave until my dog pooped there. That is fair because let's be honest, if somebody did that to my yard currently, I would probably take the poo, go hunt where their house was, and literally smear the shit all over their car. Or go put it on their front porch. One of the two. I don't know. It'd be something different. But no, I would get my revenge. And I love how petty this is because that's how petty I would be. In fact, when we moved into this house, I told my husband, I was like, we should get a poop station. Like, I looked up how much it was, and we ended up buying a poop station with 2,000 bags. So you have no excuse. No excuse to pick up after your dog. It even comes with a little cute trash can. You have no excuse to pick up after your dog. Pick up after your dogs. That's my PSA today. All right. We got one more thing, and then we'll end on closing notes. Let me clean up really quick. If you could build the perfect Gayborhood, who would be a part of it, and what would everyone's role be? If it were me, I would be in charge of the little grocery store because the business that I used to do at farmers markets was make jams, jellies, and things like that. Make my own product lines, and then I would want to get them in stores eventually. And save up enough of a product line to essentially start my own little grocery store and be able to have my bakery in the back. That's just one of my ultimate like dreams is to have my own little grocery store with a little bakery where I'm there baking my life away, just loving life. Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. Like I of course would want I just want I want to have a Gayborhood where it's like literally we're all just friends and happy and things like that. I would definitely be the overly involved HOA person too. Just because like I said, I love being around people when my social battery is full, of course. All right. So to end off things today, because I feel like I've been talking for a hot minute, what kind of neighbor do you want to be this week? I want to be a kind neighbor who waves at everyone and acknowledge everybody. Like, it's one of those things that, like, people want to feel seen. And at least, around me, I want to make you feel seen. And that's my goal going forward. Next, text one person first. Don't always be the person that waits for somebody to text you because sometimes people get tired of doing that. Wave to your neighbor. It won't kill you. And then mind your business, but in a lovingly way. Just know if somebody doesn't want to talk about something, that's fine. It's valid. Let them be. Not everybody wants to talk about what's going on in their life. Understand that, move on, and just do it lovingly. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble and talk. Hopefully soon I'll get a guest on so we can have a good little kiki. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening. This was so much fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I love talking, in case you didn't know. But Anyways, you can find me on all my socials. I'm going to try to get the podcast out on YouTube and also Spotify, maybe some other streaming platforms that do podcasts. And yeah, you can also find me on all my socials. I think it's just all underscore Michael Terrio. I may start a Gayborhood podcast actual Instagram at some point. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. Maybe when this actually gets established a little bit better, we'll do that. But yeah. So, anyways, I had so much fun. And just always remember you are seen. I see you. And welcome to the Gayborhood.